What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today here in this video, I am going to be going over 10 baseball superstars that you forgot played for these MLB teams. Now, before we get into the video, I'm going to need you guys to do a couple of things. First, go down below, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Next, go over, hit the red button, go subscribe. That is the best way to show your support here on the channel. Then go over to the bell, turn on notifications. That will notify you when exactly I'm uploading great baseball content here on this channel. And finally, if you want to get active, go down below, leave your thoughts in the comments section. I would love to hear them. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into it. Okay, now real quick, I want to go over some ground rules here. So in this video, I'll be listing off some guys who played for certain teams that maybe you forgot about, and I'll be going over their stats with those said teams. Now, when it comes to position players, I'll be going over just some standard stats: games played, batting average, RBIs, home runs, and OPS. And when it comes to pitchers, I'll be going over games started, the win-loss records, the innings pitched, ERA, and the strikeouts. Simple stuff, guys. Simple stuff. Alright, so let's start off with Roger Clemens. Now, of course, Roger Clemens will always be associated with the Red Sox and the Yankees because that is where he spent most of his years. But do you guys remember when Roger Clemens was a part of the Toronto Blue Jays? Yeah, he was a part of the Blue Jays from 1997 to 1998. Okay, now he was pretty darn good with the Blue Jays in those 2 years. Now, his first season in Toronto in 97, he started 34 games, had a record of 21-7, which led all of MLB. He pitched 264 innings, which also led all of MLB, had a American League leading 2.05 ERA, and an American League leading strikeouts with 292, and won the American League Cy Young Award in 1997. Then in 1998, another stellar season for the Rocket. In 98, he started 33 games, had another record with 20 wins or more. He was 20-6, which led all MLB once again. He pitched 234 2/3 innings. He had a American League leading 2.65 ERA and an American League leading strikeout total with 271. And again, he won the Cy Young, so back-to-back Cy Young seasons for the Rocket in Toronto. Next, we have a guy named Vladimir Guerrero Sr. Now, of course, Sr. will always be associated with the Expos and the Angels. Got drafted by the Expos, was there in that magical 1994 season. Of course, got cut short, but he was with the Expos through and through. A beloved guy up there in Montreal, and of course, went to the Angels, and he's actually in the Hall of Fame as an Angel. But do you remember when Guerrero spent his last 2 seasons with the Rangers and the Orioles? In 2010, he was part of the Rangers, and in 2011, he was part of the Orioles. Now, in 2010 with the Rangers, Guerrero played in 152 games, batted 300, had 115 RBIs, almost cracked 30 home runs, 29 to be exact, had an OPS of 841, which is above average, and it was his final All-Star season, and he finally got to the World Series, but again, unfortunately, the Rangers lost to the Giants that year in the Fall Classic. Then his next season, in 2011, the final year he would play in the majors, he was with the Orioles. Now with Baltimore, he played in 145 games, batted .290, had 63 RBIs, 13 home runs, and had an OPS of 733. So actually, his last 2 seasons was pretty darn good. Next, we have a guy named Cecil Fielder. Now, Fielder came up with the Blue Jays, will always be synonymous when it comes to his time in Detroit, and of course, he won the World Series with the Yankees in 1996. But do you guys remember when he was a part of the Angels and the Indians, both in 1998? Well, Cecil in LA played 103 games, batted .241, hit 68 RBIs, 17 home runs, and had an OPS of 757. Now, when we went over to the Indians, was pretty much irrelevant for the Tribe. Only 14 games played, only batted 143, no RBIs, no home runs, and had an OPS of 361. So his last season overall was, not bad with the Angels, but pretty irrelevant with the Indians, and honestly did not play much with the Tribe, so you can't blame him. Next, we have a guy who was known as Mr. Tiger way before Al Kaline. He was one of the first to be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1936. The hit machine, Ty Cobb. Now, Ty Cobb almost spent all of his 24 seasons with the Detroit Tigers. However, his last 2 seasons came with the Philadelphia Athletics. Cobb was part of the A's from 1927 to 1928, his last 2 seasons, and his first season with Philadelphia in 27, he played in 133 games, batted .357, had 93 RBIs, 5 home runs, and had a .921 OPS. Not bad. And his last season in the majors and his final one with Philadelphia in 1928, he played in 95 games, had a .323 batting average, 40 RBIs, 1 home run, and had an OPS of .819. .819 in his final year. At what, age 41? That's insane. So Ty Cobb, man, great player. Next, let's move on to Roger Maris. Now, of course, Roger Maris always be remembered as a New York Yankee, of course, breaking Babe Ruth's single-season home run record in 1961 with 61 home runs. But did you know his first few seasons came with the Indians and the Athletics? Yes, because Roger Maris was part of the Cleveland Indians from 1957 and part of 1958. Then he was a part of the Kansas City Athletics in parts of 1958 and all of 1959. Now, in 1957 with the Indians, his rookie season, he played in 116 games, batted .235, 51 RBIs, 14 home runs, and had a .749 OPS. Then, with the Indians, in parts of 1958, he played in 51 games, batted .225, had 27 RBIs, 9 home runs, and had a .699 OPS. Then, when he was traded from Cleveland to Kansas City in KC in 1958, he played in 99 games, batted .247, had 53 RBIs, 19 home runs, and had a .737 OPS. And finally, his first and only full season in Kansas City in 1959, Mr. Maris played in 122 games, batted .273, had 72 RBIs, 16 home runs, and had an .824 OPS. Next, let's move on to Willie Mays. Now, of course, Mays, a Hall of Famer, always associated with the New York Giants, but did you know his last 2 seasons came with the New York Mets? Yeah, the New York Mets. Because Willie Mays was a Met for parts of 1972 and all of 1973. Now, Mays, in 1972, when he played with the Mets, he played in 69 games, batted .267, had 19 RBIs, 8 home runs, and had an OPS of .848. Now, the next season, 1973, was his first full season with the Mets and his last full season in the majors. So in 73, Mays played in 66 games, batted .211, had 25 RBIs, 6 home runs, and had a .647 OPS. And guess what? He got back to the World Series with the Mets, but of course, the Mets lost in 7 games to the Athletics in 1973. But not too bad for Mays when he was a part of the New York Mets the last 2 seasons of his career. Next, we got Curt Schilling. Alrighty, now of course, Curt Schilling will always be remembered when he was with the Phillies, the Diamondbacks, and the Red Sox. Of course, Schilling won 3 World Series, 2 with the Red Sox, 1 with the Diamondbacks. But did you know his first couple of years came with Baltimore Orioles and the Houston Astros? Now, Schilling was with the Orioles from 1988 to 1990, and then he was with the Astros for one season. That was in 1991. Now, in 1998 with Baltimore, Schilling started 4 games, had a record of 0-3, pitched 14 2/3 innings, had an ERA of 9.82, and had 4 strikeouts. The next season, in '89, 1 game started, a record of 0-1, only 8 2/3 innings, had a 6.23 ERA, and 6 Ks. His third and final season with Baltimore in '90, he started 35 games, had a 1-2 record, 46 innings pitched, had a 2.54 ERA, and 32 Ks. Then, his first and only season with the Astros in 1991, he did not start any games, but he was 3-5, pitched 75 2/3 innings, had a 3.81 ERA, and 71 strikeouts to his credit during his time in Houston. Next, we have another well-known Tiger who should have stayed with Detroit for all of his 13-year career. This guy is Hank Greenberg. Now, Hank Greenberg played 12 seasons with the Tigers, but his 13th and last season came with the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1947. Now, that last season with Pittsburgh, Greenberg played in 125 games, batted .249, had 74 RBIs, 25 home runs, and an .885 OPS. Not too bad for your last season in the majors. Now let's look at Josh Hamilton. Now, of course, Josh Hamilton, a big home run guy, always associated with the Rangers and the Angels with that big contract that never worked out. But did you know he was not drafted and did not come up with the Rangers? No, his first season was spent with Cincinnati in 2007 at age 26. Now, as a rookie in Cincinnati, Josh Hamilton played in 90 games, batted .292, had 47 RBIs, almost had 20 home runs, 19 to be exact, and had a .922 OPS. It's a great OPS, I know, only 90 games, but still, pretty darn good for a rookie. Finally, let's look at Jose Canseco. Now, of course, Jose Canseco, part of the Bash Brothers in Oakland in the 80s and early 90s, also spent some time in Texas and in Boston. But do you remember when Canseco was a part of the Tampa Bay Rays? I didn't even know that he was on the Rays at all, to be quite honest. But he was. So in his first full season in Tampa Bay in '99, he played in 113 games, batted .279, had 95 RBIs, 34 home runs, and had a .931 OPS. Then in 2000, he only played 61 games with the Rays, but while in Tampa that season, he batted .257, had 30 RBIs, 9 home runs, and still had an above average OPS at .832. So that's all I got for today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Tell your friends about the channel. I would appreciate it very, very much. And as always, I'll catch you guys later.